Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll. I wanted to show you that my little Gara swirling butterflies is blooming. It's not blooming real prolifically yet, but it's blooming, and it does show you how beautiful of a plant it can be. Today is September the 19th, and we got another little shower last night, and look how it brought out these pretty black lotus blooms. And I did get out the volunteer zinnias that were coming up in here, because that's not a good place for them to come up, and I want to take this in just real soon, actually. Probably more closer to the end of this month, but it's time to start bringing these little house plants in, the ones that are, or even the ones that are not house plants. Like this is actually a perennial, but it's not hardy, so it must be brought in to be able to save it. And we in this area use it as an annual, but I'm hoping I'll be able to keep it. This will be my first year to try keeping it inside, and I'm just hoping I'll get to do that and bring it back out, and we'll enjoy it again next year. At one time I told you the best was yet to come in the garden, and this right now is basically getting to those best times in the garden, because everything has got its full growth. It's putting on some pretty fall color. The sedums are, as I showed you in the post before. And look, here's a little bud that will soon be open. That will be this is a Mexican flame vine bloom. And I was looking back at some posts just a little bit ago when I was showing my sister and you the plants that I would recommend for not having to have a lot of care in the garden. And all of these were so small compared to now. They were just beginning to come out into their own and look good. And oh, look, we're going to have another bloom here on this. Is the double hibiscus, and I'll want to take that inside too. I have most of the things that I want to take inside in the clay pots, because they do better for me inside, and I don't do well with houseplants, so I have to do the best I can. Anything I can find that will help them, I'm all for it. But I can hardly believe how this little plant just a few posts ago was just about this size right here from the ground, or from the soil up, but now it's just, well, it's humongous compared to that time. And that also goes for this pretty little copper plant. And all of the other coleus, for that matter, how small they were and how big and pretty they are now. And I usually do take off these seed heads of the coleus, because I think it shows off the pretty foliage much better. But sometimes I do think this is pretty, having these tiny little blooms above it. And this year I'm going to try to save some seed from these. And I'm waiting for them to turn a little bit brown. And I did notice, as I was showing you, oh look, this is a pineapple lily, and it hasn't made that little thing that comes up in the center that makes something somewhat like a pineapple. So I don't know if I'll get one this year. There's another one back here somewhere, but I think it's going to be totally hidden, so I'm not going to try to get over in there right now, but I'll need to get those in before frost comes. But I wanted to show you if I can see the one, and I do see it right now, but this little one right here has turned brown, has got some brown on it. So this one is almost, if not ready, for clipping off and putting it in. Here's another one in an envelope, and saving seed to start for next year. And I'm going to try that, at least just to have them. I really prefer to go ahead and find one that's already going, already ready to go in the ground and get going from there. So it doesn't take so long to start it from the seed. But sometimes you can't find the ones you want. And so this will be great if we're going to be able to have some just at the ready when we realize we're not going to find that this year, and we'll be able to start one from a seed maybe. And while I'm talking about how they've grown, and this is definitely another reason that fall is sometimes the most beautiful season because everything has its full growth. But I was also going to say that not only does this have the full growth, but I was going to tell you that this little plant right here is a little plant that started itself volunteer from a seed. Look how big and pretty it is now, but it took it a while to get there, but it certainly came out of it and looked great. So this will be an example of hopefully how they will look if I start them from seed. But yes, I like it when I can enjoy it the longest amount of time, when I can get it in and just enjoy the plant. This little one was so tiny when it started, I had no idea it was a color Saurus. So, but it was, and I'm hoping this will put me on a seed head too, so I can have some of these. I also did notice that I do have some of that water grass coming up here, so I'll very much need to get out here and dig this up. I was afraid I might have missed some of it on the root of it, and I want to get this all up from the root, and I'll definitely try this again as soon as I get that opportunity of time. I wanted to show you that my white crepe myrtle is blooming now. It would have bloomed sooner, but we trimmed these back because of the wires, the electrical lines above it. So we always trim this off, and it takes it longer to go ahead and bloom. But it's pretty today. And look how the mums are opening up. And my little lace vine is just looking, oh gosh, I don't know how to put it. It's just flowing out everywhere, and I don't like that. I want it to be contained. I'm going to see if I can figure out a way to maybe put some plastic around it where it will guide it upward, and maybe it will, it reaches for the sun, the plants do, but since the sun is coming outward, it's trying to come out instead of up, because there's a shade because of the building, and there's no shade on this side of it, so it's just trying to come up and out everywhere. But I'm going to see if I can possibly get that fixed. And it sounds like I have a lot of competition this morning from our next door neighbor dog. There is so much to do from now on until first frost in the garden. There's so much I want to do. I want to clip back the iris and peonies for sure, and anything else I have time to clip back in the fall to make it a little easier on me in the spring. But those are the main ones that I like to get up, because I do not like to do these once the peonies get tough, the woody stem gets tough, they're much harder. And the same with this, only instead of getting tough, they get limp, and you can hardly find where to clip them off at, and sometimes pull up the rhizome. But it also looks like I need to pull up a lot of these rhizomes and thin them out, but I don't know if I'll get that done, but we will see. At least I want to get them trimmed down. And I'll want to cover some of my pots. Not necessarily this one. This is Russian sage, and it usually comes back from the root just pretty well. I don't have to worry about it. But there's a lot of them, and I've already passed them by, but I'll go back, because like this one, a lot of the pots are going to need just a little protection. I'll put some around these, all of these that are right here along the fence. because I want to try saving this sedum. And even though it is perennial and it will try to come back, I want to give it the best chance of coming back that I can give it by covering it just a little. I won't cover it where it can't get sun or water, but I will cover it enough to protect it from the cold somewhat. This little redhead coleus is certainly looking good today. And I see that some of my lantana is also blooming. I'll want to cover up several of my garden decor, especially the pieces that are glass or any kind of material that's going to crackle and break, because just a little piece of plastic will save them from that. I was surprised when I first tried that, and surprised to find out that it actually works. This is another of the pretty little sedum that I will try to get this covered where it can get rain and sun, snow, whatever moisture we get this winter, and yet still be protected somewhat from the cold. So there's just so much still to do. I won't cover up everything. It could all be benefited from some cover, but I won't have time to do all that. I don't want to do all that, actually. I'm just trying to resin. If you can find something resin, for me it's the thing that will last the longest in the garden. My little blue pots with the yellow flowers are shining somewhat today. And of course my very next step will be to bring in the house plants and the non-hardy plants. I don't want to lose these. I want to be able to bring them back out next spring so we can have a chance to enjoy them again. I would love it if the summers would change to the point they are all like this summer was, because it absolutely was the best I've ever had for gardening. And of course even then you go out after the rains and it's steamy hot, but it's been nicer, more rain, more cool weather. It's just been so wonderful. We have no real excuse to gripe, but of course I do get whiny. I just do. And it looks like I am starting to get a few more little flower spikes on the Victorian blue salvia. And this is more of the house plants that I'll definitely want to take in. I love this. I love the Rex begonias. I can't see them without being drawn to them, but I love this one for the color. Let's see, I was trying to think. I think it's called Autumn Amber. And then I love this one. Just, it's always been the first one of them that ever drew my attention to it. And it's just so big and beautiful. And it's the polymer prints. I'm not sure the name of this one, but I really do like it. And when I take it inside and it doesn't get the sun, it will all turn this beautiful color right here. And it will look like it has... well, it'll look like it has sparkly nail polish over it. It's so pretty. But I'll want to take these all in as soon as I get the opportunity to do so. And then I'll move things around a little bit and put some other things here, most likely, if we have enough time to enjoy doing that, to enjoy the garden after doing that. Oh, and I'll point out this beautiful little Swiss cheese plant. Isn't that pretty? And it's filled out this year. Just like everything else, it's done the best that it's ever done for me, because the weather has been the best for it to be able to do that. And this little pot has trailing vinca in it, which is very pretty. So far, my little one that I transplanted down here is looking good. Look at this pretty little thundercloud sedum. The last time I showed it to you, it was bedded out, but now it's in pretty full bloom. And I see I have another Mexican flame vine bloom right here. Today is September the 21st, and this little Mexican flame vine that was just a bloom the last time I showed you was just a bud. It's now a pretty bloom. And the cosmos are blooming. I knew they would before very long. And the pretty little asters are still blooming full and pretty. And this little crepe myrtle, it bloomed again, and it's looking more full now than it did before also. Looking great. And I love this little coleus. It's another little trailer, or part of this part is going upward, but it's a very pretty bright little coleus that brightens up the spot where it's planted. And I can hardly believe how my little North Fork pine is doing, because I've lost 2 of these, but this one is on its 4th year for me. It's still small, but it's so alive, and I'm so happy about that. I hope it will continue on until it gets to be a really big plant, and then continue on. And my neighbor's dog must be lonely, because again he's trying to out-talk me. He can hear me, and he's just barking right back at me. And look at this velvety green little beauty of a coleus called Limelight. And I wanted to point out this little artillery fern. I had saved 2 pieces and one of them died, but look at this one. I just love how tiny these little leaves are on it, or this little foliage is, and it just makes a beautiful little plant. I added a little more sedum in this pot and in this pot. I don't know if they'll make it through the winter or not, but they may, and that'll be great if they do. And these will look more full and pretty next year. And this is more of the thundercloud sedum in bloom. And I will definitely want to cover these little pots, because they are so small. They don't have a lot of protection. They usually come back. They don't look real good for a while, and sometimes little places in them have gotten empty where it's died out, but usually the rest of it, enough of it is left that I can move it around and fill the pot up again for the next year. And I would love to get it where I could just cover it well enough that it would get sunshine and water and still be protected from the cold. Let me go up here a little bit farther to this one, because this is called the Chinese dunce cap. It's looking great right now. And it's got its little dunce caps on it too, which are not necessarily so pretty, and they also do not make the seed that it says. It's a lot easier just to go ahead and clip some of this off and restart it. But I just love it when it bunches up on itself like this and just looks so good. And of course this one is just the little blue spruce sedum. And this one has some of the thundercloud sedum that's actually still more in the bud form, I think. I think it will open up more like this one right here when it's in full bloom. And then some of the purple sedum. I think it's called Plum Dazzling. And I just don't quite have this one in the right pot the right way because it gets tall. Look how tall it is. And because it leans over, then I need to stake it or something so we can really enjoy this pretty color on this sedum too. I'll get that figured out, how to show it off to its best advantage at some point, I hope. And I love this little sedum because of its variegation. Isn't that pretty, that green and white, and just a big pretty clump of it. I hope I'm able to save this through the winter too. I actually did put a small piece in this one, in this little pot. And this is some more of that grows kind of tall. I'm not sure if I should get a different sedum for this pot, or if I should just put some type of staking in it. But I still do not have my antenna up. I cannot find the right antenna that I need. I don't know what I need. It seems like things have changed so much since I've had an antenna that I don't want to end up getting the wrong one. And because we are in a rural area, it has to be a certain type before it will work. So I'm still in the process of working on that, but I need to get it done because I need to bring this stuff in. And where I put the TV, I put this around the TV, and the electrical outlet is down underneath it, and I just won't be able to get to it very well at all, if at all. So I'd love to get that done first, but whatever, I need to get started getting stuff in because it will not all come in one day, and I need to get that job started so I can get it done. I had a little dragon wing begonia in this, but I don't think it even made it, and I ended up putting just a few little impatiens in there with it, and I'm so glad I did because it filled up my pot and gives me a pretty little showing, even though my dragon wing begonia didn't make it this year. But it has been in this little blue pot and looked great. I don't know what happened to it this time. I don't know if you can see it, but there's that little rabbit still sneaking around here. I suppose he's planning on spending the whole winter out here. I actually put away my little live trap because I just got tired of it. It's sitting out here and him not getting in it anyway. What I really wanted to show up in this for this post was a hummingbird, because I know they'll be leaving to go south at any time now, and I would love to get it a few more times for you. I have hardly got them at all because I haven't been able to sit out in the garden enough for them to get used to me, and so as soon as they see me they fly away. Look at this beautiful dichandra or dichondra. I know when you first plant this in the spring you think, well, it's not going to do very much, but then it just gradually does and looks so good. Although I did have a little tiny one right over here that I thought would do that too and come down on this side, but it did not. So that's disappointing, but it still has this one, so I'm still happy. with that. And I've been noticing that this little sedum is looking wilty. And I think this might be a good time to just go ahead and do away with this little broken down concrete pot and just put this in the ground and hope that it'll be able to grow up pretty there in that spot without the pot. I still love the profusion zinnias. I think this is one little zinnia just coming up and just filling out. They don't all always do that, but a lot of the times they do. They look so good. And my mums are continuing to open up bit by bit. This one is not open yet, but its little buds are swollen, and this is a white mum. I'm pretty sure. Lots of times I forget which mums are which color, but I'm pretty sure this one is a white one. I thought maybe this little Mexican flame vine bud would be opened into a bloom, but not yet. And I think this little profusion zinnia would have looked much better if it had been a little round clump of a zinnia, but instead it grew tall. It's growing from that little pot upward and coming up here on the side, which is pretty too, but I think it would be prettier if it had grown in that little moundy shape. And look at this little Angelonia and this pretty Bacopa. It didn't do a whole lot, but what it did trail is very pretty. And as I've been talking to you, I've been gathering up willow branches that fall out. Every time we have a little bit of a storm, wind or rain, anything like that, that gives it a little pressure on it, it just breaks off. But I still really like my willow tree. It's great for planting things under because they get dappled sunlight or dappled shade, whichever you want to call it. They get enough of both that they do well there, the house plants and the annuals and the non-hardy things. So I love having it here, and I love the little plants that they do well underneath it. And this is another one of the profusion zinnias that did make a pretty little mound. And it looks like most of the ones I have are this pretty orange color. But I also have some really pretty yellow ones and some pretty pink ones. So I don't know if I have them out here in the garden this year, but I know that I planted some. And here are some of them right here. But again, they tried to grow tall and grow upward from its little pot. And you know, when I talked about a dragonfly convention, there were so many dragonflies out here, and then the evening before I had come out here and there were so many mosquitoes I had to go back inside and not talk with you on here or get the pictures for a little while because there were so many. And it was the next day that they were all out here, and I've read that the dragonflies, they love mosquitoes, so that I think they were not having a convention but a mosquito banquet. I'm going to see if you can see all these. I think they're dragonflies. They're having a conference out here. They're just all over the place. And I took one little plant out of here that I have several others of, hoping that it would give these others room to grow. These are some pretty Rudbeckia plants that I would love to see in bloom and love to get them going, coming back from seed. That would be great. This year, this little purple alyssum and the white came back from seed from last year. So I love that too, and it's coming up down here on the ground. So that's great too. I love that. I had little pieces of it to do that before, but I've never had this much of it to come back from seed and just do well. And again, it may be because of our unusual weather this year, because it has been absolutely the coolest and the wettest without just being so heavy that it caused erosion. So it hasn't done that. It's just been pleasantly giving us a little rain every now and then. And this little butterfly bush, I hope it just goes on and on looking beautiful, but it's the only one of the 2 or 3 that I got. I think I just got 2 this year and 2 last year, so actually neither of the ones from the year before lived, and one of the ones from this year didn't, but this one is living, and this actually is probably the one I wanted the most, the dark. I wanted the Black Knight. That's not what this one's called, but it is so similar I probably couldn't tell them apart. So I love this little bloom, and I love it that this little plant lived for me. And I am planning a trip to Kansas to see my sister and to take her some plants. And I think my husband is taking one to his brother, my brother-in-law, this week, one day this week. And I just came upon a little mound of the pink profusion zinnias. I love the balloon flowers, and this one gives you in both stages of it, where it blows itself up like a little balloon and then opens up like a little daisy. There goes the spider. Climbing his little web. And more mums that are opening up. And I think this little one is going to live. I certainly hope it does. It did not do well, but it's got a lot of life in it still. So I'm going to try to go ahead and put some mulch around it, and hopefully it will come back next year and make a beautiful little, now I forgot the name of it, but it's one of the spireas. I think it's called Rainbow Fizz. That's what it came to me. So that's what it is, Rainbow Fizz. More mums that are beginning to open. My nepeta that's doing great, although it's not in bloom right now, but when it does bloom out, it's going to be beautiful, and it's looking so healthy and good. And there's just a scraggly little piece in this one, but I will put more in it next spring and have it looking good too. But I didn't want to miss out on this pretty gomphrena either. I had that in there last year and it just went to seed and came back, which is always, or most always, a good thing unless it comes back where you don't want it. But you know, even then, if it's not too big of a problem to move it around, that's a good thing too. You can put it where you do want it. We got some more rain in this lovely little Joseph's coat bloomed again. The mums that are blooming, these are tall phlox, but they are going away now. You can tell the tops of them are kind of turning to seed heads, and they will soon be gone. But they do put on a beautiful bloom from around the 4th of July till the end of September, close to the end of September. And I think this is why everything is blooming today, because we got we got almost 2 inches, because we had a 1/4 of an inch in there already, but we got right at 2 inches in addition to that, so that's great. And this alyssum came back too from seed, and I'm thinking it'll hopefully do that again, because this is going to make even more seed, and it makes a good ground cover, I think. And if I didn't have other obligations for this week, I would just definitely go to see my sister, but I don't know exactly when I'll get to go now. But this would be a great time because the weather is nice and it's rained, so I wouldn't have to necessarily water or do any of that other stuff. But since I'm not going there, if I have time, there are a few things I would like to take care of in the garden. And I can usually catch a hummingbird on this pretty red salvia. So I'm still hoping to do that, but I know my chances of getting one this year are going down, because they will be going south. Maybe not quite yet though. And I did get over in this little area and clear out where the water grass was. And I'll probably plant something else here, maybe a daylily or something. I'm not sure what yet. And in the summertime still, when it was a little later in the summer, but still summertime, I clipped this one back, and I saved these two that are taller because I thought these would probably not be able to go ahead and make a bloom, but they did, and they look great. So I guess you can go ahead and trim them back a little later than I thought, and they still have a bloom. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.